All right, guys. So we are um, back in our unit. This is the second video of 3 for the solutions, solubility, and pH unit. All right, let's review what we've already done. So, in a mixture of sugar and water, sugar is the solute and water is the solvent. Okay. In what kind of solution, this kind of solution, no more solute will dissolve? That would be saturated. And blank solution contains less solute. This would be unsaturated. And then a blank solution contains more solute. That would be supersaturated. Okay. Now I want you to find the graph that's in your notes book. And we're going to work on this graph together. Okay. So we're going to look at the solubility um, a solubility graph. We're going to make one ourselves, and then we're going to give you some questions related to this, okay? So first thing I want you to do is I want you to label the x-axis temperature in Celsius, and then your units that you're going to go up would be by fives, and you're going to go, or by tens, you're going to go up to 100. Okay. Our y-axis would be our y-axis, we're going to write solubility. And our unit would be grams in 100 grams of water. So this 100 grams of water, I'm taking the solubility of, and up here I want you to write KCl. Taking the solubility of potassium chloride in 100 grams of water. Okay, so 100 grams of water is just what I'm looking at. Okay, that's how much I'm looking at to determine the solubility of this substance. So on here, I want you to label this by fives and go up to 65 and then stop. Okay, so there we go. All right, now what I want you to do, let's flip back here. All right, I want you to go pause the video and I want you to plot all of these points. Okay, and then come back. So pause the video, plot all of these points. Right, this is what you should have. And then you drew your line of best fit. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to answer some of these questions on here. Okay, so the first thing I want you to write down on your notes is I want you to write if it is above the line, it would be considered super saturated. Okay, so write that on your notes. If it is on the line, it's saturated. And if it is below the line, it's unsaturated. Okay, that's going to come into play later, so make sure you write that down. All right. Let's erase this. All right, so I've got 3 questions for us. It says, at what temperature is the solubility 50 grams in 100 grams of water? Well, this is 100 grams of water, so I want to come up to where it says 50. I'm going to go to where it is on the line. That's this dot right here. and I want the temperature. So I come down here, and it tells me my temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. So the answer for this one is 80 degrees Celsius. Okay. The next one says you have a solution of KCl containing 50 grams at 65 degrees. All right, so we're going to go plot this point. 50 grams at 65 degrees, plotting this point, which is right here. Is it saturated, supersaturated, or unsaturated? Well, it's above the line, so it would be supersaturated. That's all you have to do. It's very simple. Okay. The last one on this one says you have a solution containing 44.5 grams at 65 degrees Celsius. So come on, 65 degrees Celsius, 44.5, which would be right here. Is it saturated, unsaturated, supersaturated? It is under the line, so it would be unsaturated. Okay, so because it is under the line, it would be unsaturated. All right, so let's go to the next thing. Next thing I want you to do on the same graph, I want you to pause the video and plot all of these points, making sure that you note the color is KClO3. So pause the video because you're going to answer some questions related to this. All right, so this is what you should have drawn. Here are the lines, okay? And we're going to look at these three questions. So the first question says, at what temperature is the solubility 50 grams of KClO3? That's my green line. So I'm going to go to 50 grams, and on the line, I find out what the temperature is. Okay, so it would help if I had a ruler, but it's around 93, 92, 93. All right, the next one. What temperature must I heat KClO3 if I want to dissolve 40 grams? So 40, come over where it touches the line. That would be around 81 on my curve. Yours might be a little off, and that's fine. And then the last question says, at what temperature do they have the same solubility? That is where they cross and form this intersection. So it's asking for the temperature. So I come down. That's about 98 on mine, 98, 99. Okay. So the last thing I want you to do, okay, that's solubility. Last thing I want you to do, if you look in your notes, all right, so here's your notes book. We're going to go back. We're going to look at this section. We're going to do these questions, okay? So this graph is extremely hard to read, but I'm going to give you the units. So this is 50, and it goes by fives. 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 85, 90, 95. Okay, and then the y-axis, and it might look different on yours, but we're going to go with this. It starts at 250 and goes up by 20. So 270, 290, 310, 330, 350, 370, 390, 410, and 430. Okay. And so we're going to go through and answer these questions. So the first one says, at what temperature is the solubility 400 grams per 100 grams? Okay. So 400 grams. I'm going to go, which is going to be right here, and I'm going to figure out where it touches the line. So it touches it about there, which would be about 86. Okay, 86 degrees Celsius. All right, my next question says you have a solution containing 280 grams at 65 degrees. So 280 grams at 65 degrees. It would be unsaturated because it is under the line. All right, see this line right here, number 3? Cross that out. All right, what is the solubility of sucrose at 75 degrees Celsius? So 75 degrees, I'm coming up to the line. All right, it's around 349, we could say. 349 grams. Okay. The next one says you have a solution containing 420 at 80 degrees. So 420 at 80 degrees, that's going to be up here. It would be super saturated. Okay. And then the last one, number 6, don't do that one. All right. Now we get down here, number 7, where it says how much KCl will dissolve in 100 grams of water at 30 degrees Celsius. Go to the page. You're going to use this diagram. Okay. So the question again said, how much KCl will dissolve at 30 degrees? So you've got to find the line. The line I'm looking at is right here. 30 degrees, it's going to be about 35. About 35 grams will dissolve. And then the last thing I want you to do today, it says at what temperature will 50 grams of KNO3 dissolve in 100 grams of water? So KNO3, and I'm looking at 50 grams. So I come over here, that's this curve right here, and it hits at about 31 degrees Celsius. Okay, so that's all for part 2 with the solutions and solubility curve. Come back for part 3 over acids, bases, and pH.